Let's go. Let's roll. I'm going to go with this again. Let's see if my opponent was tuned in to the last game. Maybe they'll go with the knight b5 move. Maybe they won't. Maybe they'll take here. e5. Knight here. Now what? Okay, d6. There are two moves here. At least two. Bishop here is common. Knight here is also a move played. I think there might also be an a4 move. Something that I did in a video that I ended up uploading to the YouTube, my YouTube channel. One that I lost. But I did like a position I did get at one point. Anyhow, the knee-jerk reaction to having a piece in a pin is to usually do something about it with h6 or bishop blocks, but neither of those moves are good because of chop that knight and then knight coming here. Bad stuff happens quick. So, break the pin. Let's break. Now, there'll sometimes be either c3 or c4 coming up. Let's see what white decides on. First things first, though, something has to be done with this because this guy's unprotected. Knight takes knight is available, maybe. Or even knight takes pawn. There are some issues, though, along this diagonal. Taking this pawn could sometimes just not be good at all because of ensuing queen d5 moves. So, okay, this is a problem now. Knight takes knight, pawn takes knight. Well, if knight takes knight, bishop takes bishop, knight on d takes, and I'm up a minor piece. So, it's coming down to this. After I take the knight, pawn takes is forced. And then bishop takes bishop, pawn takes knight is available. After that, could I just get in d5 and then try and get this pawn back? I'm trying my best right now to visualize that position. The one that comes about where the pawn is on c6, my bishop is on g5, and my pawn is on d5. And this piece, this one, and these two, or excuse me, these two knights are off the board. Knight takes, pawn takes, bishop, pawn takes knight. I think this is an important move, otherwise bishop could be playing here and it's tough to get that pawn. Is it going to be a lot of effort to get this pawn back? I think it might be. Maybe I could change the variation though. Knight takes, pawn takes, and don't take the bishop right away. Just play knight here. I don't know. Let's see if white makes the correct recapture. First off, bishop takes is a losing move. Without a doubt. This knight will just recapture. Pawn takes is forced. So now what? Pawn takes knight. Bishop takes bishop, pawn takes knight. d5. I have a nice center. I'm stopping c4. That's another way to look at it. I'm assuming c3, knight c2, and a4 is going to be played. I'm going to give it a shot. I'm going to go for it. d5. Okay. I could support my pawn on d5 with bishop e6 and then rook c8. This is my number one. What do I want to say? I just want to get this pawn. Just get that pawn. What am I talking about? My number one, whatever. What was I going to... my number one... Okay, my priority here. My priority is get this guy. Fast. Real fast. So, how can we do that? You do that by playing here. Or just go right after it right away with your queen. I could have done that too. Alright. It's just not going to be easy to get this pawn right here, I don't think. I should have went right after it. What am I... Why did I have to move that bishop? I was just saying, my number one thing was to get this guy. All right. Well, way to not follow through with what you said you were going to do right there. Queen b6. If knight here, I could kick him away. Now, I'm assuming... okay, what am I assuming? I'm assuming there's going to be an important move here played by white, but I'm not going to say it for fear that they might be listening, so I have to take everything into account. Watch out for the sneakiness. I could throw out some duds, keep in mind. That has happened before. Those that were listening, they took the bait. Let's take this pawn. Chop the c pawn. I'm up a pawn. I need only castle. Now what? Okay, there's pressure on this pawn. How do you defend it? How would you defend it? Let's just do that. This knight has a good home, but I'm okay with knight takes bishop here. What you'll find a lot in chess is that these general principles that you follow kind of, how do I say this? There's something I really want to convey in a concise way here. Queen is hit. Let's see. This seems like it's a good square. Right here. Oh, okay. Now, I was trying to come up with what? Those general principles often just change when there's some type of an imbalance, in particular, material imbalance. I have a pawn plus right here, so usually I would be a bit more reluctant to play e4, in other words, because it allows the knight to play here, but I'm kind of just all right with the knight being there, knowing that if it ever takes my bishop, I can recapture, my rook comes to life. Let's do this. I want to maybe break this knight position down. My queen is in a good spot. Pressure on the knight, indirect pressure on the pawn. Bishop f6 as a follow-up is right around the corner. And what else? Well, we have a time issue. We really can't get into too heavy a game here. So let me just watch over that pawn a little bit. And here we go. Take with the queen. I'm on f2 twice. One pig is officially on the second rank. What's better than one pig on the second? Anybody in the chat? What's better than one pig on the second? I've said this before. It's a bad joke. It's not even a joke. I don't even know what you call it. There it is. Jonathan. Yes. Thank you, Jonathan, in the Twitch chat. What's better than one pig? Two pigs. There you go. Remove the defender of f1. And then go for mate. All right. Time pressure, time pressure. Yes, Derek at home. 3 pigs under promote. Right. Playing on with that. Same thought. Okay, good game. Let's back up. The board has been flipped and see where we could make improvements. What was the one move that kind of caught my attention? This one right here. Right here. So, the better move to be running with is to take the knight with your bishop. You give up the bishop pair, but you keep this knight on the d5 square. Okay? So, run with this. Takes, recapture. And some follow-up moves to be looking into are c3 or c4. I've seen both played. 2 reasons behind the c4 move, at least 2. Strike at the pawn, vacate the c2 square for your knight, and maybe later allow for the queen a4 move, should black be responding with b4. But definitely you're going to want to get this c-pawn involved. After takes, recaptures, I think even right away with c3, knight c2, basically getting in a spot where it could reinforce this stronghold on d5. Additionally, And pretty much everything that I've just said already is something I voiced in that initial game analysis video I posted to my YouTube channel. It's the knight, the c3 move. It vacates c2 for the knight. It's getting ready to reinforce d5. It's allowing for this a4 advance to help out your rook. So look into that. Chop this c3, knight c2. Your bishop, I don't know about it being on d3. When you question these two squares, if you ask yourself which of these two is better, what's the difference between the two? And this is where maybe things start to get a little bit technical. But if you go to d3, notice that it's kind of like putting a blindfold over the queen. She can't see d5 directly. And this is a weak point. This is something white wants to keep a very, very close eye on. So e2 is maybe preferable. As a follow-up, your bishop once on e2 might be wanting to play to this g4 square, because if you enter a situation where there's no longer light square bishops on the board, this knight increases in value because it doesn't really need a supporter. It can't be challenged. If there's no light square bishop around, it's not going to be challenged by the light square bishop. It can only ever be challenged by this knight. If there's an ensuing trade of light square bishops and the structure is maintained, the pawn structure is maintained, you are one step closer to entering a middle game position where you have a good knight versus a bad bishop. Anyhow, bishop takes knight, bishop recaptures. Look into that c3 move. Consider bishop e2 to g4. What you'll often find is that if you do run with bishop g4, a correct reply is to not exchange light square bishops, but rather play the bishop to e6, knowing that if white captures on e6, black recaptures with the pawn and has repaired the weakened d5 square that was created very early on after black had played e5. There's a lot of stuff right there that I was just throwing out. It may come off like it's very basic many times, but it's very, very important. These are the little details that are driving these particular move sequences right here.